Hi, we uncover forgotten tales, eerie legends, and mysterious history. Today, prepare to sail into the ice unknown. Welcome to the Lost Chapters.
In the vast, ice-covered emptiness of the Arctic Ocean, where silence reigns and time itself seems frozen, a strange tale has echoed for generations. The story of the Jenny, a ghost ship trapped in ice, sailing no more, yet still haunting the imaginations of those who dare explore the unknown. The story begins in 1823. The Jenny, a schooner reportedly registered in the Isle of Wight, England, set sail with a small crew, seeking to explore the Pacific and make trade between ports. Her journey was ambitious, to navigate the unpredictable Southern Ocean and later cross through the treacherous Drake Passage, known for its violent storms and chilling winds. For years, the Jenny was presumed lost. No messages, no sightings, only silence. As time passed, she slipped from shipping records, her name fading from memory, until in 1840, a chilling discovery changed everything. A British whaling ship, Hope, was navigating the icy waters near the Antarctic Peninsula. As their crew scanned the horizon, something emerged through the snow and mist. A frozen schooner, completely encased in ice. The closer they came, the more surreal the scene became. The masts of the ship stood stiff and frosted, its sails torn and frozen mid-motion. The name on the hull was unmistakable: Jenny. When the whalers boarded the vessel, they found something even more disturbing than the ice: the crew. Perfectly preserved by the cold, the captain was seated at his desk, pen still in hand, as though mid-sentence. Nearby lay the ship's logbook, frostbitten yet readable. Its final entry bore a date: January 17th, 1823. The same year, Jenny disappeared. The last entry simply read, "No food for 71 days. I am the only one left alive. Signed, Captain Missing." A chill deeper than any polar wind swept through the sailors. They took the logbook and returned to their ship, leaving Jenny to her frozen grave. But that was only the beginning of the Jenny's legend. The recovered logbook of the Jenny became a morbid curiosity, kept in naval archives and studied by maritime historians. It offered a brief but chilling glimpse into the ship's final months. From the early entries, the tone was hopeful. The captain wrote of strong winds and cooperative seas as they passed the Cape of Good Hope. Trade in South America had been promising, with exotic cargo stored in the hold. Spirits among the crew were high. But then came the deviation. a northern turn meant to explore the coast of Antarctica. That choice proved fatal. Storms battered the schooner. The ice closed in quickly, faster than expected, faster than anyone thought possible. The log describes how the wind dropped and the ship became stuck in thick pack ice. Days passed, then weeks, then months. The crew made desperate attempts to break free. They chopped at the ice, hoisted sails to catch non-existent winds, prayed for a thaw that never came. Supplies ran low, morale cracked, illness set in. One by one, the crew perished from cold, starvation, or despair. The captain's tone changed. His once confident writing grew fragmented and dark. He wrote of frost-bitten fingers, of endless night, of hallucinations whispered through the cold. He refused to abandon the ship, and the ship refused to die. He became the ship's final heartbeat. His last words, written in shaking script, offered no hope, just a quiet, desperate truth. No food for 71 days. I am the only one left alive. And then nothing more. The Jenny's frozen log closed on that date, January 17th, 1823. It would be 17 years before her corpse would be found adrift in ice, a time capsule of human endurance and bitter failure. Many wonder what drove the captain to continue writing. Was it a need to record the end, or a way to keep madness at bay? Either way, his ink never ran out. Only his time.
Curious, investigative, like a historical detective piecing together a cold case. Balanced and thoughtful. Since the tale of the Jenny first surfaced, skeptics and believers have debated its authenticity. Was the ship real? Was the story a hoax, a sailor's tale spun over rum and sea salt? There's no official naval record confirming the discovery of the Jenny by the Hope. The logbook's original copy is missing. Only second-hand reports survive, published in 19th century journals and later repeated in maritime folklore. One such report appeared in a German geographical magazine in the mid-1800s. It detailed the encounter between Hope and Jenny, complete with quotes from the log and a description of the frozen crew. The account spread like wildfire across Europe, fueling newspapers and drawing comparisons to the Flying Dutchman, the legendary ghost ship doomed to wander the seas. But the Jenny was different. Her story wasn't about punishment or myth. It was grounded in realism, a crew trapped by nature, succumbing to time. Some argue that details were exaggerated. Others claimed the story was fabricated entirely, a piece of macabre fiction passed off as fact. Yet the consistency of the narrative across sources adds weight. The captain's name, the ship's route, and the icy grave all align with what is known of early 19th century exploration attempts in polar waters. And then there's the question of the cold. In the Arctic and Antarctic, bodies can remain preserved for decades, even centuries. Ships have been found trapped in ice, like the famous HMS Erebus and Terror from Franklin's expedition. The idea of a frozen crew seated in eerie silence is not impossible. Whether the Jenny was real or mythologized, her tale endures for one reason: it feels true. It taps into primal fears of isolation, helplessness, the silent power of nature. A ship buried in snow, its crew forgotten by time, and a captain who wrote until his final breath.
As the ice winds howled louder, the Jenny sat motionless in her icy grave, and yet something about her still breathed. Not life, but a presence. Sailors from other ships drifting in the region years later would tell strange tales. One spoke of seeing a pale figure moving across the Jenny's frost-laced deck. Another swore he heard tapping on the hull, like Morse code sent from the underworld. Even Arctic wildlife seemed to avoid her. No polar bear tracks in the snow nearby, no curious seabirds resting on her masts. Silence ruled her domain. But it wasn't only nature that reacted with fear. Explorers seeking a shortcut through the Northwest Passage often passed near where Jenny was last seen. Compasses spun wildly in her vicinity. The cold felt deeper, and in the white silence they'd hear whispers. Some claimed they weren't hallucinations, but desperate cries or eerie humming that matched no known song. One British surveyor recorded an entry in his logbook in 1867. Past an ice-bound wreck not listed on any manifest, her nameplate read Jenny. Approached no closer than a mile. The dogs whimpered. One collapsed from fright. He never returned to the Arctic. Over time, these stories gave birth to a nickname whispered in seafarers' bars from Reykjavik to Vladivostok: the Phantom of the Pole. But not all dismissed the Jenny as a mere legend. A handful of obsessed investigators, cryptic in their motivations, began to dig. Naval historians, occult scholars, ice physicists, all haunted by the same question: what made the Jenny different? Why did her final journey seem orchestrated? And most importantly, was someone or something still aboard?
In 1869, a Norwegian whaling ship named Sternoblikket reported something truly chilling. While chasing seals deep into the ice, they stumbled upon an old, seemingly untouched schooner. The captain approached cautiously. The hull looked intact but unnaturally preserved. The name on the stern was faint but unmistakable: Jenny. Cautiously boarding, the crew discovered a world entombed in ice. In the captain's quarters, a man sat frozen at his desk, pen still in hand, as if time itself had stopped mid-sentence. The ink had frozen in the well, his face peaceful. On the deck, another man clutched the wheel, his body stiff, eyes wide open,
staring out into the infinite frost. The ship's log was recovered. The last entry read, May 4th, 1823. No food, no heat, no hope. We die with honor. May our souls find peace in this silence. There were no signs of struggle, no blood, just 26 frozen souls, preserved by the Arctic's eternal embrace. The crew of the Sterneblicket took only the logbook and a few tokens. They refused to touch the bodies. The captain ordered a small ceremony, a candle lit, a prayer whispered. Then they left. To this day, the location of the Jenny's final resting place is a secret known only to a few. Since the recovery of the Jenny's log, theories have exploded, each stranger than the last. Some say she was cursed. Others claim the crew fell victim to an unknown Arctic parasite that induces madness, freezing people alive while they remain conscious. More fantastical tales suggest time anomalies, that Jenny slipped into a rift in time and re-emerged decades later. The crew, they say, saw the future and chose death over returning. Then came the supernatural. One Russian priest declared the ship was claimed by the ice spirits. Occultists began writing of the Jenny ritual, a voyage beyond the veil to speak with the dead. But most haunting are the patterns. Every 37 years, reports of a drifting schooner spike in the same Arctic region. It's always winter, always during a new moon, and always the ship vanishes before anyone can board. Some believe the Jenny still sails, caught in a loop of time and tragedy. In 1923, a German expedition tried to locate the wreck. They vanished. Their last message, sent in Morse, was a single word: still.
Today, the story of the Jenny is more myth than memory. No official records confirm her discovery. The logbook is missing from archives. Survivors are long dead. But among sailors, her name lingers. Paintings show her sails like ghost wings, her decks silent but proud, icebound and immortal. A few have tried to find her again. GPS, sonar, drone footage, all in vain. The Arctic protects her like a tomb. And yet, perhaps that's fitting, for Jenny, the ship that defied death and time, was never meant to be found. She is a warning, a riddle, and a prayer. A poem once found carved on driftwood in Alaska read, "She sails where time forgets to count. Her crew in frost remain devout. The sea may take, but never free, the ghost that bears the name Jenny." Some say it's a hoax. Others aren't so sure. Because every few decades, beneath the auroras, a schooner appears in the fog. And if you listen closely, you might hear a whisper. Still.
If you enjoy this mystery, don't forget to like and subscribe. Now dark stories event in every chapter. See you soon on the Lost Chapters.